Hello and welcome to Fire Walk with us. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And Justin.
This week we're covering Twin Peaks The Return, parts 17 and 18. First up, in part 17, we start off in Buckhorn, where Gordon, Albert, and Tammy make a toast to the Bureau. Gordon reveals a secret he has kept for 25 years. That before his disappearance, Major Briggs shared with Gordon and Cooper a discovery that he made about an entity named Jiao Day, which over time became Judy. Philip Jeffries was also aware of this entity, and Cooper told Gordon to try and find him if he disappeared. He continues, saying that the informant, Ray Monroe, stated that the doppelganger of Cooper was searching for coordinates. Agent Headley calls Gordon to tell him that he caught up with Dougie Jones, and Bushnell Mullins reads Cooper's coded message to Gordon, which reveals to him that Cooper is Dougie Jones. Tammy looks up Cooper's activities, and Gordon says he knows where he is headed. At the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department cell block, the drunk sleeps but wakes up, much to Chad's annoyance.
Chad's great.
The lady with no eyes, Nato, I believe is how you're supposed to pronounce her name, makes sounds as she awakens, rousing James, Freddie, and annoying Chad. She reaches up as she continues her noises, aped by the drunk. Meanwhile, Ben receives a phone call concerning his brother Jerry and his whereabouts, and the fact that Jerry doesn't have pants currently.
Yeah.
Important information that will obviously go nowhere.
And that Jerry thinks his binoculars killed someone.
Yeah.
The doppelganger reaches the woods outside Twin Peaks, arriving at the coordinates, the same location where the sheriff's department found Nato. A portal forms and he is transported to the fireman's theater, where Major Briggs' head floats. The fireman levitates as the screen shows the Palmer home, then a road in front of the sheriff's station, where the doppelganger is then transferred. Sensing this, Nato wakes up and the doppelganger approaches Andy, who mistakes him for the original Cooper. Chad removes the cell key from his boot, and Andy brings Cooper inside, where he meets Lucy and Frank. Andy recalls the vision of himself and Lucy that the fireman showed him. Using a key that he'd stashed in his boot, Chad leaves the cell and goes to the armory. The doppelganger goes to Frank's office as Andy gets Hawk. Chad loads a revolver and the drunk peels a bandage off his face, and it looks really gross.
Yeah.
Andy reaches the cell block and Chad aims the revolver at him, taunting him. Freddie punches the cell door open, incapacitating Chad.
Congrats.
This is quite possibly one of the best moments of the episode.
Indeed.
Lucy then answers the phone at the front desk and is startled upon hearing the identity of the caller.
This is Agent Cooper.
The doppelganger tells Frank that he is in Twin Peaks for unfinished business. Lucy transfers the call from the real Cooper to Frank as he arrives in Twin Peaks. Noticing Frank's stunned silence, the doppelganger draws his gun, as does Frank. But before either can shoot, the doppelganger is shot and apparently killed by Lucy, who remarks that she finally figured out how cell phones work.
Yay! She knows how a cell phone works now.
Cooper advises Frank to stay away from the body as Andy brings Freddie, Nato, and James up to the office. Hawk comes and the room begins to darken as woodsmen go to the doppelganger's body to revive him. Cooper arrives with the Mitchum brothers and runs to the audience as the woodsmen finish with the doppelganger, and Bob, contained inside a black orb, is released from the body and attacks Cooper and Freddie, who punches him, sending him through the ground in a blaze. The orb containing Bob attacks him again, and Freddie punches it once more, breaking it into pieces. Cooper places the ring on the doppelganger, who then disappears. The ring reaches the Black Lodge. Cooper receives his hotel room key from Frank, and Gordon arrives. Cooper notices as Nato and Bobby arrive, Cooper commenting that his father was aware of the events taking place. Gordon, Albert, and Tammy enter, followed by Candy, Mandy, and Sandy. They have the worst names.
I know while this is going on, like superimposed, like, not really, it's like over the top of the screen.
Yeah, there's like this picture of Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nato approaches Cooper and her face reveals the lodge before pulling back and revealing Diane. They kiss and Diane tells Cooper that she remembers everything. Cooper's superimposed face says, we live inside a dream, and that he hopes to see everyone there again. The room darkens, and Cooper, Diane, and Gordon walk through the darkness. They walk through the Great Northern Hotel furnace room, following the sound. They reach the door, and Cooper advises them not to follow him in. He then enters and meets Mike, who recites the Fire Walk With Me poem before being transported to the convenience store. They reach the Dutchman's and meet with Jeffries to discuss the date, February 23rd, 1989. They give him instructions to find Judy, and out of the steam, an owl cave symbol turns into 2 diamonds and then an 8, and Cooper is transported out. The night of her death, Laura leaves her home with James as Leland watches. Cooper is transported nearby Laura and James, and when he is spotted by her, she screams. After James starts to take her home, she jumps off his bike, and after telling James she loves him, she runs off into the woods as James rides off. Leo, Ronette, and Jacques wait for Laura, but she encounters Cooper. Recognizing him from a dream, she reaches out her hand, and she goes to him. Laura's body disappears from outside the Blue Pine Lodge, and Cooper tells Laura that they are going home. As Josie does her makeup, Pete kisses Catherine and goes fishing. Sarah wails inside her home as she tries to destroy Laura's homecoming photo. Cooper leads Laura through the woods, but she disappears, and he hears her screams.
She likes to scream a lot.
We then cut to a musical performance before credits roll. And that was part 17.
And that's just the first bit of it.
Yeah, really.
Okay, so do either of you have anything you want to talk about in part 17?
Well, let's see.
Because a lot happens.
Yeah, a lot does happen. It's kind of weird how Cooper's like, he just got there. He's like, okay, I'm leaving now.
Yeah. So, there's a couple of theories about what happens in these episodes.
Theories?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
So, when Cooper sees Laura,
Yeah.
Okay, in the
there's
1980s,
there's two major theories that I've read. And one is that it's time travel.
That looks like it.
That he actually went back in time and saved Laura.
Like,
The
this
other
is
theory-
the only time we see Leo in the entire season.
It is.
Yeah.
The other theory is that it's an alternate dimension.
Potentially, but I don't know.
It's possible with how much it kind of jumps from the one thing to the other thing, but no, I suppose either of those sort of theories sort of works with the concept of it. With how it was shown in the episode, it kind of made sense for the time travel with Laura's body disappearing from the beach where they first found her with all those sort of particular things. But no, both theories definitely hold some
It's
weight.
rewriting, like, basically everything of the series, in other words, almost. Seems that way.
It's rewriting some things.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the pilot episode was starting to play out a bit.
A little bit.
But
yeah.
they didn't find the body wrapped in plastic.
Wrapped in
just
plastic.
just like in the pilot. But,
I love how Dave's never given that a go. We're the only ones that do it. Wrapped in plastic.
well, that's just the accent, you know?
It's great. Anything else from part 17?
Oh my gosh. Diane came back.
Yes, she
There's
does
the-
come back.
And just the reveal of that is like, oh, that makes mild sense. Also, yay! Oh my gosh.
And it's also nice seeing the glove guy actually do stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Punch
he punches
that ball.
the...
Punch
yeah.
the cell door, knocking Chad out, and then punched
Well,
Bob to death, basically.
Well, we don't know that Bob's dead.
He's in pieces.
He's in pieces. Well, his orb's in pieces.
Yeah, maybe that just makes multiple smaller smaller Bobs.
It could.
Or multiple possessions. Oh dear
And that's
goodness.
how season 4 was started.
Oh. Oh. That, you know what? That's possible.
I know, and that's sad. Anyway.
Alrighty, so now for part 18.
Yes.
Cooper's doppelganger sits in the Black Lodge surrounded by flames. Mike creates a new Dougie Jones, who shows up at the Jones home, greeted by Janie E. and Sonny Jim.
I wonder if he has the same personality as Dougie.
The only thing he says is, home.
Yes, it is.
I love that. Oh, I hope he does. Cooper leads Laura through the woods and she disappears. Cooper hears her screams. Cooper sits in the lodge near Mike, who asks, "Is this future or is it past?" Cooper observes the chair Laura sat in and he follows Mike to the evolution of the arm, which asks if it is the story about the little girl who lives down the lane. Laura whispers in Cooper's ear and she is lifted screaming through the lodge ceiling.
Again, screaming.
She does scream a lot in this show.
Apparently so.
Which is, she has a good scream.
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
Laura whispers in Cooper's ear and she's lifted screaming through the I heard of that. Cooper goes to Leland, who tells him to find Laura. He goes through billowing curtains to, I'm going to butcher the name here, Glastonbury Grove, where Diane waits and asks if it is really him, which he asks the same of her. Cooper and Diane drive 430 miles, Diane advising Cooper that their destination will not be what he expects. Upon arrival, he gets out of the car and observes his surroundings. He returns to Diane, confirming that this is the right place. They kiss before driving through a portal, which transports them to a dark road. Something that Lynch had done a few times before. They reach a hotel and Cooper goes inside. While sitting in the car, Diane sees herself briefly before Cooper returns. In the morning, Cooper wakes alone and looks for Diane, finding a note for Richard, signed by Linda.
There was an awkward sex scene in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
Which was... I wouldn't say it was the most happiest scene ever, even though it had music playing and ominous music playing at the same time.
It was a weirdly constructed scene.
It was very strange.
Telling him that she's gone and not to find her. He leaves the motel, noticing that it and his car are different than what they were before. Cooper reaches Odessa, finding a coffee shop called Eat at Judy's. He goes inside and asks the waitress serving him if there is another one who works there. But he is told that it is the other waitress's day off. He spots a group of men harassing the waitress and advises them to stop. They threaten him and he incapacitates two of them, kicking one in the balls and shooting the other in the toe.
And then dropping their guns in the deep fryer.
That comes up later. And the other one, he gets the other one to stand down. He has the waitress give him the other waitress's address as he places the guns belonging to the men in the deep fryer, warning the staff that the heat could set off the guns. He leaves with the address. He goes to the waitress's home, spotting a utility pole outside with a number 6 attached to it. He knocks on the door and the waitress, resembling Laura, opens it, confused about his calling her Laura. She tells him that her name is Carrie Page, but he insists that she is Laura, and offers to take her home to Twin Peaks. Having already been needing to leave town, she agrees to go with him. And as she gets ready to leave, Cooper goes inside and sees a dead man on the couch and a white figurine of a horse. They drive.
Guess we don't need to know anything about the dead guy.
Nope. Carrie reminiscing about Odessa and stopping at a gas station along the way. At one point, they notice a car's headlights behind them and wonder if they are being followed, only for it to pass harmlessly. They reach Twin Peaks, but Carrie does not recognize anything. They arrive at the Palmer home and Cooper knocks on the door, but a stranger answers, not recognizing the name Sarah Palmer and saying that she purchased the home from a Mrs. Chalfont. The woman identifies herself as Alice Tremond, and Cooper and Carrie walk away from the home perplexed. Lost in thought, Cooper hesitates as they get to the car and turns back in the direction of the house. Sensing something is not right, he asks what year it is. Carrie turns to look at the former Palmer house and hears Sarah shouting, "Laura!" She suddenly screams like Laura, startling Cooper and causing the lights in the house to go dark as credits roll. And thus endeth Season 3 of Twin Peaks.
Wow.
Yeah. So what year is it? Is Season 4 gonna be in like 40 years now?
So there is, I don't know if it'll probably be out by the time that this episode, it will be out by then. There is a book coming out.
A book, eh?
Yes, there was also one released before the season, both written by Mark Frost, who is the co-creator of the series.
Okay.
Apparently that is going to have some answers in it, but it will still leave the door open for a season 4.
Huh.
Provided that they ever get around to making it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it would take place in a separate universe at this point.
Possibly? Who
Quite
knows?
possibly.
Here's a random theory I'm thinking of. Like, because Cooper decided to mess with the timeline, dragging Laura Palmer away, and having that whole scene in the pilot happen, Sarah Palmer destroys the portrait of Laura Palmer, and we don't really know what else happens in this timeline.
Nope.
So it could be just a completely different timeline now.
Yes, that is. My assumption would be that would be where season 4 would go.
Yeah.
Is that if Laura lives, what happens?
Yeah. And there would have been no reason for Cooper to even go to Twin Peaks then. Or at all.
Unless there is. Unless somebody else ends up dying.
Due to Bob or whatever.
Well, yeah, because Bob would still be in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So he would still...
Well, yeah, because he was only destroyed in one timeline.
Yeah, he wasn't destroyed in that timeline, so he would still exist.
Yeah.
So Bob could have ended up just killing somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
He could have killed Shelley or someone else.
Yeah.
That would be just as possible.
But yeah, this is very confusing.
A little bit. There was one thing that I sensed with most of the stuff that happened in 18, where everything that happened that Cooper went through was already done before.
What do you mean?
With the meeting with Diane, where he went to, what he was searching for, and all the events that happened were already done within the series. Not that we've seen ourselves, but have heard about.
Yeah. It's really interesting the way that they're taking seeds that are planted in like the first 2 episodes and paying them off now. Like 28 years later.
Yeah, a little bit.
Although, I mean, sadly we don't get much of a resolution for some characters, like whatever became of
Leo.
Audrey.
Audrey.
I
Yeah.
mean,
We don't get a whole lot for Audrey.
no,
Yeah.
We don't get anything on Leo, really.
not
Yeah,
really,
no.
no, at all.
He shows up briefly in one of these 2 episodes. I can't remember.
Yeah,
it was
it's one.
18. It was 18. I think. Or was it no? End of 17.
No, into 17.
It's somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
He's
mean,
very briefly in the show. A lot of characters don't get a whole lot done
Yeah.
with them.
yeah.
But one character
It was
I'm
like
definitely happy to see. All the reactions from Lucy. Just everything that she did within this episode. And she, with marrying Andy, got some of his amazing sharpshooting skills.
fairly so.
Yeah.
She became kind of a hero in this.
Yeah, she ends up shooting Cooper's doppelganger. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's like, great! If it wasn't for the fact that this guy can revive himself, that'd be awesome!
I love how she shoots them and she's like, I finally understand cell phones now.
But you're just shouting. Whatever.
I love it. It's great. Alrighty, so did either of you have any other thoughts on season or episodes 17 and 18?
Man, this stuff gets weird and confusing. It was kind of a particular point of, I was trying to follow things along and my brain was like, you know what? We've been doing this for several months. We do not need all this shit. Pushes the button to shut off my brain. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to
Big
turn off your
fancy
brain to
thing.
understand everything now.
You kind of do. So you try to think about this stuff too logically, you're just like, oh, fuck.
Yes.
Alright, Justin, did you have anything else?
Deep fried handguns.
I do love that. He's like, I don't know if this is hot enough, but the bullets could go off.
You gotta watch out for them deep fried bullets. They can pack one hell of a wallop.
Anything else from either of you?
I thought it's hard to know what I think of this series really when it just keeps ending like that.
We're gonna have a conversation about that later.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
On the one hand, it wasn't as bad as with last time, but of course we were spared the horrible torture of that. For everyone else at the time of that episode coming out, we're so sorry.
Yeah, we didn't
You've
have to
had
wait
to
20
wait
years.
so long.
25 years.
Yes, we didn't have to wait 25 years. Y'all only had to wait a week. I had to wait more than 10 years. It was not fun. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for this episode. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
And Justin.